Welcome back to Opinions in the Dark. Well, my opinions matter and your opinions matter, but you're going to hear about mine today. Honestly, we're going to do something a little different today. I actually want to be able to give my listeners a little backstory on basically my purpose for this. I think it's owed to you guys to understand the reasoning behind why, I wanted to start Opinion in the Dark. Honestly, I wanted to be able to create a platform where a lot of people could actually come on and, who may be afraid, who may be shy, but just tell their story and get their story heard, and to have people to hear the story and to reason with the story and to understand that they may be in the same shoe. It's just somebody else was able to come out and speak it. So, a podcast is really for a lot of people. I mean, everyone. It's honestly for everyone, because a lot of people have things that's going on. A lot of people battle with mental health. A lot of people battle with being single parents. A lot of people battle with the dating world. And if I can have multiple people connect and be able to give out advice, give out opinions, to be able to tell their stories, their tragedies, their times when they was at their lowest and they was able to find peace and comfort after that, I would love to hear it. So I'm going to start off mine today with a little background on me. Actually, I was raised by a single mother, and I had a father. Honestly, I had a sperm donor who actually stayed within like 5 minutes driving distance. And me and my sibling had to honestly call him to be able to make time, to be able to go see him, to stay the night, to do those things. But I didn't understand when I got older why I still put all the blame on my mother, because that was the one who was right beside me the whole time. But I treated my dad as if he was Superman and he wasn't ever there. I chose to grow up angry at my mother for her mistakes, for her actions, for my mistakes, for my actions, to not have a positive male figure in the house, the way she treated us, the way we felt as if the way I felt as if I was treated. But I can honestly tell you that it didn't ponder on me until I actually decided to get a wake up call. Honestly, I got a wake up call one day that was really one of my lowest times. And at that time, that's whenever I had sat down and I had to reflect on everything in my life. And I had to honestly realize that this whole time I've been putting blame on the wrong person. I understood that being angry at my mother only caused me to be more angry about my situations in life, to the point of where I was actually a real bad liar. I'm talking about I would lie about any and everything just to make my life sound good. I always wanted to be able to play sports, but I didn't take time as a child to understand, as a single mother, raising boys, you can't always do what you can do if you only had one child. I also understood that she did the best that she can now whenever I didn't before. And it's crazy because, kids will make you feel as if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But in reality, you doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. It's just the simple fact that we will see a look on the face or an attitude change, and it would have us questioning ourselves. But in reality, queens and kings, I promise you, you guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's the journey and it's the road that comes along with it. But yeah, I realized that I was putting a lot of blame on my mother, and at the end of the day, it wasn't her fault. Yeah, I really wish that I had what I was able to see down the street, a family playing football in the street with their kids and whatnot. And I didn't have that. And I used that as a tool to be angry and to lie about it as if I had it. And that's where my lying really started. I used to make believe about a lot of things that I never had because that's what I wanted. And I used to lie about it. But again, it didn't dawn on me until I had that wake up call that at the end of the day, my life is my life, and it was meant for me to walk in this path for a reason. I understood lessons now. I understand lessons now that's taken a lot of people a lot of time, a longer time to understand. And I didn't realize that that came with my background. That came with the understanding of not having a lot of things to it. When I have it now, I appreciate it more, honestly. Um, it allowed me to be a man. It allowed me to find out what it is and what it takes to become a man, rather than just calling myself a man because I got my own apartment. I still wasn't a man at that time. Understanding that your trauma could really cause an effect if you allow it to is a big burden too. It's a big issue because it could really follow you, and it can have you missing out on blessings. It can have you missing out on good situations. It can have you second guessing yourself. It can have you belittling yourself, having lack of confidence in yourself. And I know for a fact I had that. I did not want people to understand who the real me was. So I made this action figure character of me with all the lies that I used to always tell. But it didn't dawn on me till one day that I realized that telling a lot of lies, like we know for a fact that, when you tell a lie, that's something you got to keep up with. And that's like the time period of it, like at that time. But not understanding that the lies that you tell, they actually come back years later. And it's like you question yourself on why you said it, why you thought about doing it. But again, until you actually, and for me, what it really was, I had to sit down. I had to be able to humble myself. I had to be able to appreciate everything that I have now rather than what I didn't have before. I was blessed to be able to have a car. I was blessed to have a place to lay my head. I was blessed to have food to put in my stomach. I was blessed to have a family that loved me. So honestly, a lot of us really don't be content with our lifestyle, not knowing that if you just live your truth and you live what your life is supposed to be, how happy you would be. And that's what it did for me. I had to really sit down on my lowest point and understand that I had to have a wake-up call. And honestly, one of the first things I did after I was able to gather myself and get myself back together was when I went back and apologized to my mother. I apologized for making her feel as if she had to work harder than what she was actually doing. I apologized for making her feel as if I deserved more when in reality I still had a good life, honestly. It was nothing for me to complain about. It's just as a child, when you see something, you think you deserve it no matter what the situation is. And a lot of times we don't ask ourselves why the situation is. And you can tell yourselves now, if your child ever get mad at you about a situation that you know for a fact that you really protecting or shielding them from, they're not going to care about the reason why. And that's where I was at. So I had to apologize for that reason. I had to apologize for a lot of reasons, honestly, because I made my mother, for a fact, I know it, I made my mama feel as if everything that she did for me wasn't good enough. I verbally said it. My actions showed it. My attitude, the confidence, the pride, the ego, everything showed that I wasn't appreciative of everything that she tried to do for me and my siblings. So I wanted to give this story out today because part of becoming a man and part of me finding out what it takes to be a man, I had to sit down and humble myself. And not saying that everybody has to go through what I went through, but at any time you can have that moment with yourself. And I can honestly say now, to lie is is one of those things I really sit back and look at and be like, why I did it. To know that I don't have to go to bed with trying to keep up with it, going to bed with knowing that I am who I have to be honest to before I turn off them lights. And to know that that feeling didn't even feel good. Because once you realize that you start to lie to yourself about the lies that you say, that's when it gets bad. Because you owe it to yourself to be the best version of yourself. So why are you trying to trick yourself? You know yourself better than anything. So why are you even trying to make a lie to convince yourself that the lie that you told to somebody else was actually true? That's when it gets bad. That's when the understanding of living in your truth and keeping it real really is valuable, and you have to be able to maintain the integrity of understanding that you're going to do things that you may make a mistake on. You're going to do things that's going to call the action of you not liking what came from it. But to stay real to yourself is the only thing you have. You know, we've seen a lot of things get taken from African American culture, single mother culture, Caucasian culture, Mexican culture. You get things taken away in this game we call life. But you owe it to yourself to keep your integrity. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how big the struggle is, or how big the situation that got caused from a mistake that you caused or you didn't, you have it to owe it to yourself to keep your integrity through it all. And that's the consistency that we have to maintain. That is the consistency that we have to always use, not to throw excuses in front of it whenever the situation happens. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to ourselves to keep it real. We owe it to ourselves to keep it real to our family members. And I really wanted to get this story out because I see now in 2023 that a lot of people are still to this day lying to themselves. And it almost start to show it through the pores when you know that somebody is lying to their own self. So it's like, how can I even trust what you're telling me? But it's valid to also understand that we don't have to do that. We don't. So I just wanted to give y'all a little update or a little backstory that's actually owed to you guys. Because again, I started my podcast for a couple of reasons, and I never gave y'all a reason why I actually started it. I have reasons why I want to keep it going, but I never told y'all what was my reason behind it. And honestly, I'm going to keep on going with more stories throughout the time. But I honestly wanted to start there because I wasn't real to myself for a long time. And I honestly mean all the way to my adult years. I was not real to myself. I stayed making up these fascinating stories and these lies. But at the end of the day, when I go to bed, like, I never felt good. And I didn't know why, but I know why now. And I know why I get good sleep now. And you can too. That's for the day. Again, join with me again. I will be having more content coming. I will be having more upgraded quality. This is my first podcast, so please bear with me. But please come on the journey with me. That's all I ask. And this is your boy C with the Pins in the Dark. And I'll catch up with you guys later.